Football Guys Talking Softball. FGTS is back, Ted.
Go.
It's that time of the year. OU softball won game one, 11-3 in a 5-inning run rule, and won game two, 4-2. They they just took care of business against Florida State in the Super Regional there in Norman, and they are headed to their 8th straight Women's College World Series. 8th straight, Ted. Just incredible stuff. And Patty Gasso remains flawless, advancing to the Women's College World Series when she comes on the podcast. Just want to point that out.
There you go. Yeah, that's impressive. And dare I say, they look like they've been gathering steam since the postseason started and they started the Big 12 tournament. It looks like they're looking more and more comfortable, more and more confident. They're headed to familiar territory where they've got a ton of experience with some of their upperclassmen. Things are looking good. Offense is playing well. Defense, we had some absolute beautiful plays over the Super Regional. So I'd say they're in a pretty good spot heading into the World Series.
I was taking notes during both of the games. I've divided my notes into positives and then concerns. Not negatives,
Yeah.
but concerns. So here are my positives, Ted. Game
Okay.
one. Loved how they responded when Florida State got a little momentum, when they scored a few runs to tie the game in the third. It kind of felt like we were about to get a really good game, and then just an offensive avalanche from OU. Brito was just the softball didn't have a chance that night. I mean, Brito was just hammering that thing. Couple bombs. Kinsey Hansen with a bomb. I mean, it felt like it was going to be a game, and then a blink of an eye, it was 9-2 heading into the 5th inning.
Yeah.
That was great. Tremendous way of responding in that game. I thought in game two, it just took advantage of every mistake that Florida State made. I mean, you go back to Tiare Jennings scoring early. Parker gets caught in the rundown on purpose, and Tiare Jennings executes the plan perfectly and goes and scores.
Yep.
Jada Coleman having the awareness, scoring on a wild pitch. Like every mistake, it felt like every mistake Florida State made, they made him pay for it. Speaking of Jada Coleman, my note from that one, just wow. What a beast. What a catch. That is one of the best softball catches you will ever see that she had in game two. That was incredible.
It's the craziest looking thing. She just I don't even know how to explain it. Like floats backwards in the air, and it's
Matrix
almost like
style.
it's almost like she no looks it. Like she's got her glove up and she's just kind of like looking down, knows it's gonna happen. It was such a cool play, man. It was great.
Cassidy Pickering's home run in game two gave him some breathing room. Just the normal actions of a freshman.
Yeah. Crazy.
Going opposite field in a tight ball game with the trip to the Women's College World Series on the line. I think she's going to be an incredible player for this
Yeah.
program. And then the last thing I had was Nicole May looked awesome in the closing role in game two. I
Yeah,
mean,
she did.
she looked dialed in. She was displaying some attitude in the
Yeah.
circle, and I was a big fan of that. She came in there with the right look in her eye, and they had no chance. Ground ball after ground ball after ground. I thought she was fantastic.
Yep. No, I agreed. It's it's crazy to have that type of experience from a pitcher like Nicole May that can come in those moments where most teams kind of have their ace, and if their ace can't get it done, then they don't have much of an opportunity. But we've got several different routes to go. And what is she, like 61-5 as a starter, something crazy like that? To be able to have that experience come in moments like that is just, it's next level.
My last positive had a bunch of different people tell me that Love's Field was absolutely rocking for those games.
It looked good. Looked
And
awesome.
I do think when they built that, it was it was it was built because of the success of the program. But I think it was also built with like we need to give this team a true home field advantage in mind. And just watching it from my couch, like it looked like a true home field advantage and it looked like it affected Florida State. So
Yeah.
credit to the fans because I had multiple people text me that was like, hey, this place is, I mean, it is on fire and fantastic here.
Yeah, it's awesome when you just kind of you're watching around the country at some of the other super regionals and you see the environment. And they're not bad environments, but they just don't have a home field like that. That's got, I don't know what, 5,000 people there, out there in the outfield. You know how those outfields get, they're talking to the opposing players and it's loud and they get to clap and everything in there. It's awesome. It's a great environment, which sounds like that was the plan. And I think they accomplished it.
Concerns from the super regional. Really, just the big one. Like Kelly Maxwell didn't have her best stuff in game one. It just didn't have the control we've come to expect from her, especially lately. I mean, she's been locked in. You go back and think about how she pitched in the regional. I just think it certainly says a lot about the team that even when she was off, she was able to go the distance and limit a really explosive Florida State offense. They're able to still find ways to get the key outs when she absolutely needed them, but too many walks. When she hit two batters, you go back and think about the first inning. Kind of lucky to get out of it the way that she did. You can't afford to have her pitch like that in the Women's College World Series. I just think if she's got to be more dialed in than she was in game one, and no one knows that more than her. But it was pretty surprising watching her be as off as she was with her control.
Yeah. Is there anything that you attribute that to?
Sometimes the big time home field advantage, the big time home environment can affect you in a weird way.
Yeah,
It
it
was
puts
strange. It was
an amount
strange
of
watching
pressure on the.
her not be able to locate pitches the way that I mean she just normally does.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something I think if you look at the super regional, I think that's probably your number one concern if you're an OU softball fan that you saw was, hey, she did not look dialed in. And if this team wants to win a fourth, listen to me. If this team wants to win a fourth consecutive national title, sound ridiculous. But if they want to win a fourth consecutive national title, they need Kelly Maxwell to be better than she was in game one of the super regional. I think that's fair to say, right?
Yeah, I think I think it's fair to say, just in general, the the margin for error for Oklahoma is slimmer than it has been in the past. I think offensively, I think maybe make the claim defensively, and then pitching. In We're still really good in all of those areas, but just maybe not quite as good as we've been, or we don't have the edge, because I do think the field has gotten better as well. So they've closed the gap on Oklahoma to some degree. So everyone's really going to have to be on top of their game, including Kelly Maxwell, whenever they start into the World Series.
You got to be at your best, and that one of my concerns, and I don't know if it's the best way to frame it is game one, Florida State just made so many mistakes, and they
Yeah,
prevented it from being a close game. I mean, you got people falling down, running the bases. You got runners on first and second, no outs in the fifth. You pop up a bunt for a double play. Like, dude, they just made, and maybe it was the environment that affected them so significantly, but they made it easy on OU with how many mistakes that they made, which
yeah,
that's part of the game, right? That's part of the game. But you anticipate less mistakes from other teams in the Women's College World Series. You can't bank on someone making the type of mistakes that Florida State made in this, especially in that game one.
Well, yeah, and we made mistakes too, but how about what went down on that situation where we had a runner on second that just kind of randomly decided to go take third,
And then they called obstruction.
which Patty was quick to the obstruction call. I mean, she had a good look at it down the line, but what was that
I
whole situation?
I'm not a softball rules expert, but you're not supposed to be able to prevent them sliding into the bag. Like that's obstruction, right?
No, no, no,
But
no. I got that.
when
I'm
you get
talking about
yeah, what happened? I have no idea.
like why she like did she not see the third baseman? I don't know. It
I
was
All I know is the look on her face when it got overturned. That was a you could put that next to relief in the
oh
dictionary.
my
That's what
gosh.
relief looks like on someone's face.
I know. Even Patty was like as animated as you see her. She was like over there laughing at the dugout, like we got out of that one.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that should not be obstruction. If you get caught like that, I,
I know. I
she was
I
out.
agree.
I mean,
Out.
now there's some OU softball people that are saying, "Shut up, the rules are the rules," and I get it, but if you get caught like that, you should be out, man. I mean,
Yep.
it's silly.
Yep.
It's silly that hey, you I know she would have been out anyways if you would have had your foot in front of the base, but you had your foot in the base, so she's safe. What?
Yeah, you
Unless
tagged her
I'm
before.
misunderstanding the rule.
Yeah.
That seems very silly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's strange. But needless to say, um, there were mistakes in there too. And obviously as the competition's going to get tougher and tougher, the stakes are going to be higher and higher. It's more likely the team that makes the fewer mistakes is the one who wins. I mean, there's going to be a handful of big plays made. We know that, but it's the mistakes. Like we've got to limit those, obviously, and that's really what they've been so good at over the years, and just got to continue it.
Here is just a phenomenal stat. Oklahoma softball has not lost a home super regional game since May 24th, 2014.
That's crazy.
It's nuts, man.
I don't even. Why do I think? Why did I feel like they lost this super regional game last year?
I
That's dumb of me.
I'm pretty sure I typed that straight from the recap of game two.
I it sounds. I mean, it would be like a stat that Oklahoma would have for sure. That's crazy.
I
It's impressive.
That's the softball program is crazy. It's
I know.
unreal. I mean, that's there. I'm fired up for the Women's College World Series. Fun time of the year for softball fans.